Hi, I'm Kale, and this is the Food Stand Diners. Just hit 10,000 on our ideas and is in the next review period. It's intended to be basically life-size replicas of real food. You can this around this way, and you can kind of... So not necessarily for Lego fans, for foodies as well. It belongs on a mantelpiece. But then, yeah, you go around that way, and you get something that can fit in any Lego city. The inspiration absolutely was real-life food. But how that kind of fused with the idea of... Because I usually build minifigure scale. How do I integrate real-life food into my town and make that work for a display? And that's where that came from, as an idea. And then it grew legs. And, yeah, 10,000 votes, later.
And how did you decide on these particular, like the sort of burger, the fries there, and the drink? How did you decide on that particular lineup?
This was actually... It happened over, actually, the course of, 2 years or something. It was a long time period. First, I just did the fry stand, and I whacked it in a mock and moved on. Then I'm like, I need something else. And this is about 6 months later. I was like, okay, bang, here's a burger stand to go with. And the milkshake took forever and a day. But, it just kind of slowly evolved. And it looks like I might be ending up being the food guy. So there's a coffee cup coming, there's an ice cream coming.
You kind of carved out a niche for yourself there.
Apparently, yeah. So, you would have seen the coffee cup down there, yeah. So that was last week.
So then the milkshake actually has, some studs just stuck in the top there? So talk about kind of the design of that and getting the rounded shape.
And this probably speaks to how old the set is as an idea. So I did that as kind of a cheeky way to kind of make it look milkshakey, soda-y, use your imagination kind of. And I'm like, no way could that ever happen in a real set. And then they did ship in a bottle, which it totally uses that. So I'm like, yep, trendsetting.
Start throwing tons of studs and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It works. It gives it that visual pop, So,
yeah. So what were some of the more difficult kind of elements included in here and kind of the angles? I know, obviously with the fry stand, you've got all the different angles going on there. So talk about some of the challenges with each of these.
Look, I don't want to talk it down too much or talk myself up too much. The fry stand was actually ridiculously easy because once you get it's the milkshake though. It's a milkshake cup needs to taper in too many directions to just get smooth. So that one I redid. I don't know how many times, just trying to figure out. I wanted to taper up and out and stay round and yet hide the seams. How do I make that happen? So, yeah, that one took the longest for that reason.
Now, is it designed, for instance, with the burger build there to be sort of modular where you can take it off and add your own toppings and details to the building? Is there any kind of element of that design to it, or is it pretty much just set like that?
At the moment, it's if you peek inside, you'll get a fully detailed interior.
Okay.
But to make that work, it means it does have to have the right... There's not a lot of room in there. So the walls are super thin and there's a lot of snot involved as well, and it still needs to read as the right wall inside. So could maybe change the burger around, but it'd ruin that internal detail, which frankly gets lost when we're at a distance. But
if you look really closely, you can see it.
Yeah. Well, I was very happy with how the kitchen turned out in the burger stand in particular, and the milkshake's got a little milkshake machine in there, and the fry stand he's got a deep fryer in there, So those were important little details that for me at least needed to be in there, and because otherwise it's not just a food stand; it's an empty box, and I didn't want that, and so.
Now, obviously, you said this has the 10,000 votes and ideas and is in the next review period. So something I'm always interested in when talking to builders with ideas projects is kind of if it became an official set, is there anything you think they'd have to change around, or what are some of the elements that maybe wouldn't transition so well to just an official set that obviously has different parameters to it than a mock built by a fan?
Well, this one, I would have said 6 months ago the trans studs. But at the moment, no, I think in a lot of ways it's incredibly robust. It absolutely passes the play test. You can pick them up, you can juggle them. The lid on the burger stand probably should lift. At the moment in this configuration, it doesn't. But apart from a few parts substitutions, that's the single change I'd make.
What was the process like for you on Lego Ideas in terms of getting to the 10,000 votes and just kind of putting the project out there and getting people's feedback?
Look, it almost didn't go up on Lego Ideas. I had submitted 2 projects previously that just went nowhere, and I got no traction. And then all of a sudden, I started with the fry stand, got picked up by the Brothers Brick, got picked up by other agencies, and it just it grew its own legs. All of a sudden, I've got a mate here in Melbourne, runs one of the toy stores. He pulled out his wallet and said, I want a copy of that. Here's the money. Make it happen for me. And if it hadn't been for Ricky doing that, this would not have become an idea set. It wouldn't have gone up there. And yeah, it's so humbling and awesome and exciting seeing that happen, and roll like that. I don't know. It's surreal. Like, is this real life?
You never expect you'll actually make it to that 10,000 mark when you first put it up there.
But it hit 3,000 within the first month. It was just went bam, and because if I had to do any marketing, I figured that meant it wasn't a good enough set to be released. So I did nothing except put it up there and let it grow its own legs, and it did. Because people were already responding in that way. And it's so pumped. So pumped.
So your strategy is just kind of let the build kind of speak for itself here, and if people enjoy it, then they would vote for it.
Yeah. I genuinely believe that if I had to do anything to market it, it means it isn't worth being a Lego set. It either speaks for itself or not, and nothing I can do about it except, the creative process can change that. So,
yeah. Well, I love the builds here, and I think it really captures the creativity that's possible with Lego buildings. So it's really fantastic. Thank you so much for giving us more details on the project, and best of luck with the Ideas Review. Thank you.
No, thank you.